really well.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew Sting, but all the different personalities were so much different. I really had no indication of what truly the wrestling business was all about, you know. And what I saw those couple of times, I was like, man, I don't want to be called one of those guys. And then lo and behold, here we are.
Okay, so you end up going down to the world famous power plant. Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, Sarge, and was that a picture facility you were training at? Because I was thinking that looks way more.
That's way nicer than it looked when I was there.
When you were there, there might have been 1 or 2 rings. Because I remember Van Hammer jumped on a pole one time and sliced his hands open because it was a much more cramped space.
Yeah.
That's pretty scientific.
That's scientific because I remember they had, I think there were 2 rings the most at the time. Because I had a little video camera set up over here.
Yep.
I would video me every single day from the first day, and I still got it. From the first day to the last day, because what I'd do is I'd go home. I didn't know the craft, right? But I had an idea, and I'd go home and I'd watch my video, and then I'd watch, you know, Pancrase or UFC stuff. Not UFC back in the day, it was different. UWF,
right?
I'd watch those guys, and I knew that MMA was going to be huge one day, and I figured here's a guy that people already knew played football, and so they can get the big monster thing. And then if I go MMA, then that's new. That's groundbreaking. That's what I see for the future. And then if I've been training it for a long time anyway, and if I can learn some things and try to do it without hurting people, then it's a viable character.
Okay, you're down the power plant. Sarge is leading the charge, and you're doing the drills. For instance, when I got into wrestling school at the Gentleman Chris Adams Academy, I stood out just because I had somewhat of a physique, long blonde hair. You're standing out. Have you shaved?
They had Bob Sapp there.
Okay, well, Bob Sapp's a different freak in his own.
So I didn't stand out at all.
No, you did, because, dude, look at you.
I did and I didn't, but because there were a bunch of big dudes that Chase Tatum was down there. There were a bunch of big monsters, and Bob was 375, dude, 360. You know, I was...
But also, okay, taking into consideration that, your athletic ability was off the charts.
True.
And the footwork from the D-line stuff.
It was different. And I could do a back freaking handspring at 290, you know.
Right.
I mean, so I
how did you take to the system?
Better question was, how did I take to Sarge?
Copy.
Because if a guy like Sarge didn't lead the charge, I don't know if I would have done it. Because Sarge pushed my ass.
But you respected him.
Absolutely, and I respected the out of him. But I didn't respect a couple of other people down there because of the character that they knew and the way that they chose to lead people. I mean, I needed somebody like a Heyman, somebody with an aggressive, with a vision. They tried to kill me down there. They tried to kill everybody. But the fact is that if you come from a professional sport, they think you're a cocky son of a bitch, right? And they think that you should have handed to you. Well, I knew there was no frickin' way that Buddy Lee Parker or anybody could do anything to me that I couldn't handle because of my experiences on the football field. There ain't nothing tougher than a 3-a-day in Georgia heat, you know, pads all day. I'm sorry. I mean, you can go to war, yeah, but other than that, good luck. So I kind of smiled at everything he threw to me. And when Bob's yakking in a trash can over there, and I'm just looking at him like, yep, that's what they want to do to me, but it ain't happening. So, but I love Sarge and everything he taught.
You have your camera set up over there. When you go back and you watch yourself, what are you thinking? What's the game plan? Because how long would you be at the power plant before you would make your debut in some dark matches?
6 months. Oh, that was all. But I worked my ass off every day. Kenny Chaos and Robbie Rage. Those two probably helped me more than anyone because they were like my guinea pigs. And they were MMA guys. Well, because I owned the largest MMA gym in the freaking world at that point before my partner stole money from me. But that was a dream of mine. And I had like a 30,000 square foot MMA gym in Atlanta right when I broke into business, and I had, you know, Couture and everybody coming down and training in my gym.
But get it.
And so it was a great place for me to test stuff out.
Okay, so when did they decide it's time for Bill Goldberg to make his debut? Because I know you'd made a couple of yes, you might merch them. I ain't never sell no shirt. Call me Goldberg. You were looking at the short game.
Yeah. He goes, what's your finish? And I said, what? what are you gonna do at the end? It's got to be big and powerful. And I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. And so we go out there, and they're introducing the referee's going over the particulars, and I look, it was Manny Fernandez. And I look at Manny, and I go, Manny, do you trust me? And he goes, what's he going to say? He goes, yeah. I said, well, when it comes to the finish, just tuck your chin and spread your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. He goes, well, okay, whatever. And so, man, I ran him over like nobody's business, got to the back, everybody was standing there like what did I do? I said, whatever you do that every single time. I'm like, I just did a football tackle. I don't know. And so to answer your question, the streak was organic. My timing was organic. No one had a plan. They just kind of shot from the hip and fed people at a time when satiating people's desires was the cool thing to do. I think they just gave it people what they wanted because they saw how it kind of, there was a glimmer of it in the beginning, and people kind of were frenzied because it wasn't normal. By the time they figured out what was going on, it was over, and it was short and powerful, and they wanted more.
So there wasn't a whole lot of plan?
There was no plan. I remember...
But Bishop was in charge, right?
Well, yeah. Okay. There was no plan. So I remember Thursday. There was a Thursday night. I'm sitting at home, living in Dawsonville, and I'm looking at Thunder, and J.J. Dillon comes out and he goes, we have breaking news. Monday, live, Georgia Dome, Goldberg versus Hollywood. What? Who? I had no freaking idea. I found out when everybody else did. I was just a piece of the puzzle, and they figured out on the fly when to plug whatever in, and I just did what they told me.
Okay, question. Would you call yourself...
Depends on your definition.
Okay, I know the hard work.
I was in the right place at the right time. There's no doubt.
The hard work is playing.
Logan and those guys had come down from you guys. It was the perfect timing. They were big heels, and they needed somebody to be the good guy. And somebody that, ironically, that they made on their own, homegrown guy that just came out of nowhere. And I guess I was the guy.
But I would say that you were an overnight sensation. When I started studying your body of work and looking at all the pieces, and you started talking about hybrid, I mean, you were right on track with what you ended up doing. You know, I just saw great striking, great kicks, you know, limited moveset, but pure power, pure explosiveness. It wasn't about you going out there and telling a 20-minute...
That's what everyone does.
Yeah.
And that's not good, bad, or indifferent. That's normal wrestling. Mine was kind of like feeding people to the lions. It was completely different. It was shock and awe. And by the time you figured out what was going on, it was gone, so you wanted more. I learned a lot of things from a lot of people. I remember I was training, and I threw a guy into the corner, and I hit him 15 times, and he's still on his feet. And they were all powerful body shots, and I made him come with an elbow, and Sarge comes up and he goes, why'd you do that? I said, what do you mean? I wanted to make it look strong. He goes, then hit the son of a bitch once, drop it. Then I'm doing a match with Barbarian, my second match. I take a belly to belly from the top turnbuckle, right? I get to the back. Eric Bischoff runs up to me and he goes, don't you ever do that. I'm like, I do. He goes, you're never climbing up there again. Barbarian, I love him, I respect him, I just did what he asked me to do. And so I kind of learned a little bit about a lot of things at that time, slowly but surely. People didn't have to tell me certain things, and I figured it out. Hogan, that's it. Sarge, when you think you're going slow down. I'm very patient. I truly am. It's kind of like life. There's so much bullshit going on right now. People overthink everything. Well, if you're a good person and you treat people how you want to be treated, it's pretty freaking. Right? So I just had a good work ethic. I tried to listen to the right people, and I hope.
To me, I thought you came out and you made maximum impact. Short range of moves, powerful, devastating moves.
They were realistic.
And the intensity factor was off the charts. When I listened to your first match, you were already in the ring. I like a J-Brone.
I was.
Or they were asking you as an unknown.
I was a J-Brone.
They was giving Hugh Morris a little bit of a shove there. Bill's a big dude. There it is.
Look, I didn't.
You know what? Look, this is the green guy standing in the corner, not selling nothing. Look at that. Menace. No intimidation on your end as far as, I mean, emitting it, but not feeling it. Eh? Look at that. Dude, you can't deny that. Wham!
And that was
There's
different.
a big dude.
That was different, you know?
Okay, watch this. Okay, look at the way you're picking him up. Look at the
No,
body language.
he didn't go with me.
No, dude, I know.
I took him, dude. Look at that.
That's it. Down. Here's what I love here. Watch this. Love this. Love this. A couple things going on here from a scouting perspective. Here's what I'm seeing. Your power. That was your first match. Okay? It wasn't dark. You dominated that guy. He goes over. You got that. But you didn't let the referee raise your hand. I like that. Like, hey, don't, dude, leave me alone. Send out a message. People watch that.
You can't go backwards from this.
Another thing also, the trademark great minds of lead. Don't lead. Or at least one all the time. Different and unique, but also to ensure that win. So just something that on a technical note that a lot of people might miss, but I loved it as a trademark thing. It was respect, but it was also, hey, here's what I got to do to get this guy pinned, but this is what I'm going to do after that high impact maneuver.
Make everything mean something.
You run through Hugh Morris. You do the next match with the Barbarian. I thought it was very giving. And yeah, you did the belly to belly, but man, that's Barbarian. You go through Roadblock, who weighed over 400 pounds. Okay, and then you go through Scotty Riggs, catch him outside, pure power, and then 168 more would follow. The streak was created. But when I look at your debut and the way you handled yourself in those first 5 matches, dude, from the word go, it just said superstar. And then they started feeding the machine and lining up opponents.
Thank you.
What were you feeling during that? Because green guys that got to put in time, man, you're lost out there.
I was doing what I thought was right. I was protecting. I know that you can't go backwards, right? So you can't go out and start talking and smile and get punched and get dropped. You can't come back from that unless you're Steve Austin. You reinvent yourself and you do something down the road. I had to start with the precedent and set the stage, and I couldn't go backwards. And I always got because of it, because people think like I'm the one who picks it, and the fact that I didn't take bumps and it's not my call. I was the guy. I was in that spot. There's guys to win, there's guys to lose. When you're the guy that wins 110,000 in the low, it's easy to say, hey, I was just a team player. But I'm a team player. There are a lot of things in my career that people who are fans of me can look at and give as examples as to why they're fans. And there's a lot of things in my career that people can look at as detractors and say, well, he sucks because of this. There are a lot of things that I feel like define me, but here's the one that I'm going to tell you and everyone else that I truly am more proud of than anything. And I put it out on Instagram a couple months ago. Bobby, remember? Okay, Bobby talked the Guerreros, Steiners, Sarge, Dallas. There's a lot of people who really helped me that a lot of people have no idea about. Like zero. Eaton helped me out so much. Sting so much. We're in the middle of my streak, and I still don't know from Shinola, right? And we're in his home frickin' town, right? And he's put me over that night, and I am begging Arn Anderson to let me put him over. Whether it's a show or not, I wanted him to be the man that night. And it meant everything to me. And in the beginning, I don't know what the brevity of the streak, but as a man, I wanted to do that. Right? I don't want to say I'm a great guy. I just want people to understand that that's me. That's my thought process. And in that night, and that moment, it meant more for me to make him the guy than anything about this streak thing that they were talking about.
Okay, but how did the match go down? Jackhammer, but you wanted to do.
Yeah, I wanted him to pin me.
Right.
I wanted him to pin me.
Side note.
And it would have killed everything. But
Well,
for
yeah.
me, it was, man, I don't know. It was wrestling. But for me, it was the right thing to do. And I loved him, and it's the way I could pay him back.
So,
But I didn't know much about the business at that point. And I was like, why can't I do it? And now thinking back on it, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. But it just shows my character.
It shows your true character.
I just love the man, and I could never repay guys like that who made me the person and character that I was coming.
Yeah, but man, I tell you what, when you get on a lightning boat and you get a chance to ride on it and stay on it,
I get it.
You got to stay on it.
I get
okay,
that
but
now.
when you came in, here's the thing: when you came in,
all right, let's do it.
WCW decides, hey, we're going to go live on Monday night against Raw, and we're going to call our show Nitro. Had a pretty damn good show. All of a sudden, here's Bill Goldberg, and the Monday Night Wars ensued. And y'all kicked our ass. I think they call it 83 weeks. I call it 2 years. And I was like, man, it caught me in the chute. Because I was like, God, our show's better than theirs. Now, I had a couple times, for a while, y'all had a pretty hot show. And that's why we was getting our ass handed to us. We had like 10 million people watching. And so I was in that for a shoot. As you were coming along, because, hell, 1998, you're a year and a half in the business. You're real good in year 98. You're United States champion. You're about to beat Hulk Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship. We'll talk about that in a second. How caught up in the Monday Night Wars did you get? Because I considered it a shoot.
And I want to kill you. I wanted to go. Well, yeah, because you represented the enemy. I love that. But I never could have made it where I was without you being Steve Austin. I was the copycat over at WCW.
Did you feel like that?
Did I feel like it? Only when people said so.
Right. Because when I look at it,
I'd say there's a huge freaking difference between those two guys right there. Huge. Maybe not that picture, but the other two, it's huge difference.
Yeah, and different mindsets, but a parallel.
Absolutely.
But
you and I couldn't be any more alike, but be more unlike each other.
I agree. So it was a shoot to you. We were in the trenches. We were doing battle. At some point in time, we ended up kicking y'all's ass, and WCW was bought out for pennies on the dollar. But before that happened, it was July 6, 1998, at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, your hometown, and you've got to go through Scott Hall to get through Hulk Hogan. You dispatched Scott Hall. You and Hogan, arguably the biggest name in the history of the business. You've got him up. After you speared him, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. Bam! Look at that. Like that lightest spear I've ever done. Exactly, and I know why. Helping a brother out. Hell yeah. This one too. Letting it down. Normally you kind of shove a guy under your arm.
Right, yeah. Well, I catch myself with my knees and my shoulders here. You can tell if you like the person or if you like them or not. I mean, look at that.
It was like Brody and Hanson when they worked with the Punks in Japan. Okay. Dude, look at that. Look at that. Look at the excitement. Look at this. How can you not love that? The intensity, the energy, the adrenaline, the testosterone.
And they announced it Thursday night before, and there were 44,000 people available. Just imagine if it was advertised. It would have been huge. It was awesome. It was surreal, And I go into the room beforehand, and I got to go through Hall first, which he and I have never gotten along, and I wanted to eat him more than anybody in the business. And then I got to go with Hogan, and I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. I just do what everybody tells me to do anyway. And here I got Hogan, and so I go in, and I say, what are we doing? And he goes, we'll call it. You're kidding me, right? And so, and he'll tell you this, freaking lock up, pulls in headlock, icy hot. He's got it all over his, hell yeah, I couldn't see the whole freaking match.
Yeah, but he was a body guy. Did he just put it on? Because Bagwell wore the same stuff.
Did he wear it? It is what it is. I deserved it. It's all good. Yeah, all good. I was honored and privileged, to be in his boss. The coolest part was, and you may be getting to it, but I had tried to play football. I got a certain amount of success. I had taken away from me. I went into the wrestling business. I had no desire to do it from birth. I didn't have a love for it. I did as a fan, but I never assumed that I would be one of those guys because I was a football player. It happened. I started to love it. I love it exponentially. And then I win the biggest night ever. And I got the Falcons there with me. Right? And so this isn't a knock on the business at all. But the coolest part about that night is to have the guys that I always, every day, woke up, try to emulate and try to be, want to be me. I'm sitting in that corner, chained to the ring, and I'm going, man, we're all pros right now. God in our life. You want to be me. I want to be them at this point. You want to be me. And there was just some satisfaction in that. It just was a really cool feeling. And there are a few things that I bask in. I don't even want to say basking, because that's not me. There are a few things that make me just sit back and go, and be content, and that was one of the coolest times.
So that did mean something to you at a personal level.
Everything.
Because I was wondering, because maybe your indifference to the business when you first got in, and your ultimate goal and passion was to be a pro football player, if that really meant something to you.
It did, and like my Hall of Fame speech.
Right.
I stated the fact that all I ever want to do is be a pro football player for many reasons. Obviously, you want to be successful. Obviously, you want to be looked at as a guy who, can physically dominate people, because you're that guy. But I wanted to be, and it's corny, and it's not me, but it is me. I wanted to be a superhero, and I thought by me attaining the NFL stardom that not only could I satiate the things that I really wanted physically and mentally,
Throw your ass right now.
Standing there doing that, I realized that by being in the WWE Hall of Fame, that was a lot easier a path to become that guy and be there than any NFL.
Okay, you're charged full of adrenaline. You've got the heavyweight championship. I guess it's on Monday Night Raw. And you...
Let's hide!
Chance by Scott Hall and by Kevin Nash on your birthday. Salt in the wound.
Yeah.
So, when that happened...
Told you, let's hide, man.
A few weeks later, the finger puzzle boom happened, and Hogan won the game. How did you think that?
Honestly, man, at that point in my life, I just looked at it I didn't big picture it by any means, because I didn't know enough about the business. And the more you analyze stuff, the more it pisses you off that, it happened this way because of this. And the front office is going this way now that's being run by these people. I don't want to lobotomize myself. You do it enough as it is. So I didn't know enough to really pass judgment and realize anything. I really didn't.
At that time, I can understand what you're saying. But now, in retrospect, looking back, and I know you're not a guy that lives in the past, but now it's kind of like, really?
The ultimate rib.
Right.
The ultimate rib. Now, it needed to happen at some point, but really, come on.
But to your point, which kind of you stated all along, you got into business, and you always treated the business as a business. So I think that's helped you make some very sound decisions.
I think so. It truly is a business. My competitive career...
Let's try this one.
This is a male soap opera. It's competitive.
I'm sure of it.
And your success is based upon, partially, your ability to be better than people. It's not a competitive numbers game to where the best man wins it's just not. So you have to look at it differently.
All right.
I want to exit WCW, but before we do, there's a limousine, and you start punching out windows, and you get to that one side, and Mr. Some bad shit happens. Powers that be.
You want to fuck up Scott Hall.
The powers that be. I gotta be shaking around there. Yeah, if I had the NWO, smashing in the windshield. All right, I'm worried about Monday. You pound the hood, blood squirts everywhere. But the ramifications, what happened?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you have to be able to go 100 miles an hour like a light switch. To go from one end of the spectrum to the next, you have to either be crazy or you have to be, you know, extremely controlling, or you have to be a little bit of with the good comes the bad. Right? And some things I may have taken personally, and the guy being a piece of shit, I take really personally. And Scott Hall is a piece of shit. And so I wanted to kill him. And he was the reason behind everything that happened. I made poor judgments because I was mad. And as opposed to grabbing a sledgehammer, I figured I'd use my own sledgehammer and just show how violent it is. You know, so, and I hit this big gimmick and it doesn't break, and I'm like, okay, this is live TV, I'm gonna hit it again. And I hit it and go through it like a cheese grater. And I look down and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Live TV, grab my hand, white limousine, go to the front. Great video, great shock. Boom, blood everywhere. I went nuts.
One person quit on
took it to another level.
Sorry, motherfucker.
Ignorant.
But with the healing process, I mean, I would imagine some depression set in, because some depression set in after the loss to Hogan, because you were on this friggin' rocket ride that no one had ever been on before.
Lost the Hogan.
And so then all of a sudden that comes tumbling down, and you've been winning. It's the friggin' streak.
It's weird.
And now you get beat. So,
yeah, I mean, a little bit. Honestly, not nearly as much as people think, because, as I said, it's not based on competition. So it's objective.
Ride momentum.
I get it, but it's subjective. So I can't be disappointed in myself because I didn't lose anything based upon numbers or my output. I lost it because of the storyline. Being in the middle of that storyline, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, advice-wise that people throw at you, that was just that was the luck of the draw. I couldn't dictate anything, because 9 times out of 10, I was that guy who was already under the heat, and so I just kept my mouth shut and kind of tried to follow a direction. And, you know, it might have led me in a good place or a bad place, but I tried to listen, because it wasn't my place to decide things, because I didn't know the business.
Okay, the Monday Night Wars continued. You're in a healing process, so I think you're getting ready to come back. But the point being, WCW goes out of business.
I have a guaranteed deal. Why would I go back and work for half my money when I have a guaranteed deal to stay at home?
You had the gold standard, the Time Warner contract, and so you stayed off instead of jumping in. And a lot of guys missed out on the invasion angle. A lot of people thought that you weren't there, so you're gone for a period of time. Then all of a sudden, round 3, you show up at the WWE. What were your thoughts coming in? We talked about it earlier, but let's just cover it here.
I was the enemy. I came in and here are all these guys that I've been saying bad things about, trying to beat, kick their ass, move for move, segment for segment, and now I'm one of them. Boy, this is going to go over well. And oh, by the way, Hunter and I didn't get along to begin with. Things were said from afar, and now I'm there, and now he's part of the office, and talk about putting myself out on the island, and I didn't do nothing but make it worse in the beginning. But it's tough, because people can't empathize if they haven't been in your situation. And as great as the situation is or was, I was still at the mercy of the next person who gave me.
Hunter deserved a LLC set.
And who was it? I know Arn
It was
Arn. It was Arn. Very good. He just helped me exponentially. I would call certain guys and ask them for their names. I really didn't know who the good guy and who the bad guy was.
Last year, all of a sudden, time for WrestleMania. WrestleMania 20. Madison Square Garden. And this is going to come full circle. Bill Goldberg, or Goldberg, versus Brock Lesnar. There we are. Look at a young buck. Brock Lesnar is here in this picture. He's primed up as well. Me, hell, I got the double knee braces on. I cut myself skinning a deer. That's why the hands all taped up. Who's this complete stud? Who's nose to nose? Athletes of a high caliber. Wrestling background, football background. And there's frustration happening, because both of you guys are leaving checks
and
out.
Vince just hated me a little bit less than he did him.
Here we are in the garden.
You're trying to help, going, oh God, what do I do?
I got a story for you. Watch this.
And Brock, I thought Brock was going to kill me because he was so mad at everybody else. I thought he was going to take it out.
He was mad.
And I'm like, what? Where am I? What's going on?
Here's you.
That's what I thought I could get him just riled up and we could go. And he was consumed by it. It fed me. We should have just gone into the crowd and started tagging people.
The story I was going to tell you at one point during that match, because y'all were pacing. I'm like, I was I'm thinking, man, something's got to happen. I said, I'm just going to take off and start hitting the ropes. And believe it or not, it's no WCW spot. They were having a battle roll down in the Citadel, half a house. And Bobby Eaton just started running the ropes. I'd already blown out my knee, and someone threw me over the top rope. And finally, someone threw him out and said, I think Bobby said, what are you doing? He goes, help off, ain't nobody gonna grab something. I'm gonna just start hitting the ropes. And I laughed my ass off. So I figured, man, if I just start hitting the ropes, the place will just come like that. But I said, I ain't gonna steal these guys' moments. These guys are friends of mine, and I respect them too much, so I ain't doing shit. It was weird, though, right?
No, weird is an understatement.
You know, for 20 years, dude, on tour, we're about to get for a long show. You and I are together, so we don't want to know each other. But how did that resonate with you for a long time?
It did not sit well with me for a long period of time. I had nothing but animosity for anybody, everybody. I mean, I had my friends, that were kind of excluded from that, but, it was just a really bad taste in my mouth. I mean, I spent the whole year there being successful, and it translated as offense. And I man, in all honesty, man, I just want to get along. I just wanted to be part of the team, and hey, give me some responsibility. I can tell it,
But how did you know, okay, at this point, because you had CW, you were just revered by the fans, and then you get to WWE, and the rules not so much, and then you get to do that with Martin. This was in a short window of time. That's what's fascinating about your career.
Well, it felt like they had accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with me for years, completely discounted what I had gained prior to that, and then have me next to you and have me fail miserably and have you be the king.
But how were you mentally? Because Dawkins said, hey, it's time to go. Carolina says you're out. Now wrestling says you're out.
Well, I had an opportunity to do something still. When I was a fan, which is freaking the coolest thing ever in the wrestling.
Well, that's a style that's right up your alley.
It messed with me throughout the years, but it didn't define me. It just was really bad. It was unfinished business, but it was unfinished business that was never ending.
So you're working on a movie, A Santa Slave, and you meet your wife, Wanda. She's a stunt woman, and so you decided here she is, and she's wonderful. What was that all about? In 3 months, you decided, hey, this is the woman. You guys were both in a relationship at the time.
Yeah.
And love at first sight and communication.
Hopefully I don't say anything that can incriminate. The statute of limitations is over here, right?
I think.
I better be. Yeah, man. I was we're all in differing relationships in differing parts of our life. I wasn't in the healthiest one at the time. I signed on to do this movie, Brett Ratner's understudy, got a movie up in Edmonton. It was cool. I had the lead. I got to be a Jewish guy playing a killer Santa Claus. That's the coolest thing ever. Right? There was a strip club scene. Extremely long story short, we go do the scene. There's 49 naked girls in the room, and there's one with a blue robe on. And it's a stunt woman. So we come back, and so we were walking through the scene, rehearsing it, and the scene is, on Santa Claus, I come in the front door of the strip club, I kill the first 2 bouncers, then I'm chased by a patron and the bartender throughout the bar. And so they chase me, and I go up on a table, then I nip up from the table, and I land, and I jump to a swing. She's sitting on the swing. We hadn't met before, so you could do the logistics I mean, I can't look up. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we can.
So she taps me on the shoulder after some 5 minutes of very uneasy silence, and she says, you know, usually before a guy sticks his head between my legs, he buys me
Jerk
beer.
outside the ring.
And I looked up and I went, I love you. You want a beer? She only did the move. She's a stunt woman, right?
Yeah.
And she had to have pasties and she had a skirt. And she's usually crashing stuff. She's not doing a strip club scene, but she agreed to do the movie because she thought she was doing it with Jeff Goldblum.
Are you me?
Swear to God. So she walks in. This gets better. She walks in. She goes, "Where's Jeff Goldblum?" And they go, "What?" And they go, "You mean Goldberg?" And she goes, "Who the hell is that?" And they say, "Well, he's this famous wrestler." She goes, "You mean that fake?" I don't hear any of this, and I don't know any of it. So then we would rehearse the scene. She had 3 rules. She didn't date a stuntman, a professional athlete, or an actor. I guess I was all of them.
You know what?
So 3 months later, we get married, and I've lived the fantasy life ever since.
And so obviously, to me, I mean, when I talk about some of the things I'm most passionate about, cars and football immediately come to mind, but now that I know you as the husband of John and the father of Gage, that is your number 1 priority.
Yeah. Our
Come on up,
priority.
yeah.
I knew that there were so many things I wanted to accomplish before I started a family. But once you start a family, you're all in. There's only one way to do it. So, right time, right place. More than the right time. Blessed me with unbelievable stuff. Every day of my life, you know, I spend some time with him. Hopefully he'll be an extension of me a little bit. The good part, the bad part, hopefully he takes out for his family.
Many years ago, in about 99, I came to your place out there. And then many years, a few years later, I would come when Gage was just a youngster.
Good God, look at Wanda there.
Because now, good call.
Whole lot of that.
So, but now he's 13, 14 years old, and going back to 2016, they know you as this guy that used to wrestle. They've never been around it. And Wanda wasn't a fan of wrestling, didn't watch it. What's going on here? Because if you get a call from WWE or whatever, explain to me how you got back in the business after a 12-year absence, because your 12-year absence basically represents almost the entire length of my career, with an injury and an FU to the company when I thought I was being wronged. So you've laid off for a long time, and now you're back. Something to prove or something to show them?
You know, after my last performance, you would think that it would be something to prove, but in all honesty, and I can tell you this with 100% confidence, I didn't feel as though I needed to prove anything after WrestleMania 20. That wasn't on me. It wasn't on Brock. It was situational.
Agreed.
It is what it is. Yeah. You know? I had moved on that aspect, but I still harbored the negative feelings for the business, for Vince, for everybody associated with it. You know, I get married, and you know, people come up to me all the time, and when they don't ask if I'm Steve Austin, they say if I'm Goldberg. You know, and so there's stories out there, obviously documentation. There's the internet, so they knew me as someone completely different than this guy who had been terrorizing football field for years. I'm sick and flippin' tired of saying, well, you know, when I played so I got the opportunity. Unbeknownst to me, you know, 16 years removed, you know, and I'm old and I'm small and I'm hurt, and you know, but hey, you got an opportunity, and you can hopefully set the stage to show your family a little bit about what you did. Well, you know, there's so much that comes with that. It's not like it was 2003 again, and I said, oh yeah, sure, absolutely, let's go do it. And I had to think of a lot of things, and you know, physically is only part of it. I retired from football for a career-ending injury before I got in the wrestling business. Okay, not many people will say that or acknowledge that, but I mean, I couldn't walk, I couldn't run. There were things that I could not physically do, but I sucked it up and I became this other person, and I went into a different endeavor. Well, 16 years removed, you can only imagine the injuries and how they compile, Mr. Austin. And the familiarity you once had with the business, you never really made it to a point where you were a good worker and people could rely upon you running matches. Okay, there's that. There's just 16 years older, and then, you know, limited move set. And then, hey, I'm a power wrestler. It's not really easy to come back, you know, at 50 years old, weighing 295, having veins popping out of your neck. So there was just so many things that I had to take into consideration, but I sucked it up and I made a decision, and I put it all out there on the line to hopefully give my family a glimpse. That's all. I didn't do it to come back and try to be the guy again and be over, you know, whatever, and because I needed that. I just wanted them to see a little bit of it.
But like you said, and we were talking on the phone earlier, you making a comeback and, you know, going back, just like you just said, all those years removed, 290 jack with veins everywhere and traps, you know, that were about a foot tall, and you're not that guy anymore, but that's the guy that everybody's wanting to come through there. Go!
You think I don't want to be that guy?
Go, Bird!
And then here's this old freaking man coming through there, you know, and he's all gray. So I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Leading into that, you seriously doubted yourself, and I pull up my phone because you made an appearance in Denver, and you set the stage to take on Brock Lesnar. And man, when you walked out there, you know, you looked good, but I could see doubt in your eyes. See that.
That was the first time.
You needed that.
That was the first time that the wrestling business had seen someone other than the ass-kicking machine that blows smoke out of his nose. And that was all by design. Because if you're a power wrestler and you come back 16 years far removed and you used to eat frickin' people and spit them out of your ass, you have to have an excuse to not be that guy. Right? So I added a layer to my character. And I let my family in on it when I never in a trillion years would have let my family be on camera prior to the situation that I found myself in, where Goldberg needed an excuse to not be 295. I had to be vulnerable, because what I presented was a different package that couldn't attain what he attained before, based upon his ferocity, his mental makeup, and his physicality. Because I wasn't that guy. I needed a crutch. I needed a
No, it's a hook. I don't think it's a crutch, it's a hook.
It was both.
Yeah, but it was smart.
For me.
Well, here's the thing about you. You pull off the dumb jock real well, but you're anything but. You know what I mean?
I like to be the antithesis of what people think I am.
But this time, when you came out there, that Denver crowd they really gave you love. And then
I mean, and you know, and truthfully, full disclosure, every single time I go out there, I think they're going to boo. Every single time. You know?
Awesome.
So I'm pleasantly surprised that something positive happens. And thank God for that crowd that night, because they really made me feel as though I had never left.
In reading your book, you say you're pessimistic by nature.
Absolutely. That makes you who you are.
But why? I mean, you have so many great things going on.
Hey, baby.
You're only as good as your next performance. Living in yesterday and all that is for people who don't strive to be the best. I am only as good as I strive to be the next 5 minutes.
You know, one of the things you said, maybe for the first time, this isn't about me, with reference to one that engaged. And then you also said, I don't foresee myself having any fun during this entire process.
speak over. I'm like, well, okay then. That's easy.
Yeah. It was
Not that easy.
No, it ain't. And you questioned your ability to pull this off.
Always.
Because you wanted to engage to see you be successful, but you questioned if you could pull it off or not. And you said, it's something that I'm terrified of, absolutely. Stop me if I'm boring you. But you said, I'm an emotional wreck. And you finally said, so much pressure.
But here's the deal, too, right? I'm just answering a question. I'm not going out and saying, hey, man, here's my little violin, please.
No, I get it.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
But it comes across like that sometimes. People have to understand that if you ask me a question, I don't give a shit what it is. I'm going to give you an answer. It might not be what you want to hear, but my answer might feed into what people's perceived. You know? That's all. So,
Who was the big
I don't give a shit if it's brushing my teeth or filling problems or going out and playing football. I don't care. I'm going to give 100%. I'm going to represent the team. I'm going to make sure that my name is on the back of my shirt. And I have an image to uphold. And that image is not of me. It's of the people that walk this earth before me with my last name. And I have a responsibility. And I'm not going to stop at anything that I do striving to be the best.
One of the guys I think was instrumental in helping you during that time was probably, I think, someone you can tell me that you trust all in. The guy who helped me back in my formative years is Paul Heyman. Would you say that he helped in this process of, like I said, no excuses. I mean, it was a high pressure situation.
If it was not for Heyman, my comeback would not have happened. Not that he made the calls to make it. It's just that
LJT, you got a minute?
he was kind of, that's a part of my deal, right? And there's certain people that know you and certain people that don't know you. Therefore, you try to set the stage in a situation to where if things can go wrong, they can go really wrong with the most qualified people who know you more than anyone on the planet. It's not the time for a booker to come in and try to learn about it. We have to know what worked and apply it immediately. There is no trial and error. I mean, I trusted exponentially with my career.
So you went out there with Brock.
Goldberg was unfazed, and Lesnar couldn't believe it.
In short fashion, you dominated it 1, 2, 3. On top of the world. How did that feel?
It was the coolest thing in the world, man. And, you know, for Brock, man, and Heyman, they made it happen. And the business, Vince and us, they made it happen. They made it work. And I'm forever indebted. And hey, let's be honest. If it didn't make money, they wouldn't have done it, right? So I was in the right place at the right time again. And thank God that I have kept the mentality that I have throughout the years because it made it possible to step into that ring again and be part of that guy.
But people cared, and emotions sell tickets, and their emotion involved in just
mental thing going on, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good. This is my last one ever. I'm gonna try to enjoy some semblance of it. I was smiling because I go into Gorilla, man. I had already headbutted something. I got blood working. I'm doing my thing. I've got to be that apex ass-kicking person. It's not easy. I can't just turn it on and off like a light. I have to have 20 seconds or 30. Give me a little bit of. And I walk in there and I hug him and I'm laughing and I'm like, hey man, it's all good. I'm gonna have fun this time. And he's worried, right? Completely worried. And I got through that curtain, man. I took a couple steps and I looked down at all the people and I smiled, and I, for the first time, truthfully, I think for the first time walking the ring, I just enjoyed being in the moment at that time. And I enjoyed the ability to be given an opportunity from whoever it was from to be able to be in the situation I am and provide something for my family that a father and a husband, rarely gets an opportunity to do. And for me, that meant everything. I've accomplished everything in the world that I ever could imagine. But if I can give to my family something, thankfully with everyone's help, it's another way to make them smile and make them proud of me, I guess. At the end of the day,
You guys went out there and rocked the house.
then she was pissed because she thought I ripped my ear off.
But it was a short but violent, explosive, and impactful match that needed to be. Y'all had the match that you needed to have. We didn't need to see Goldberg and Lesnar go 15, 20 with a bunch of arm drags.
Everybody could do it.
You had these two friggin' veterans going out there, and then after Suplex City, speared out of nowhere, a bunch of suplexes, and then you back into you, and then ultimately you do the favors. 1, 2, 3. Brock is a Universal Champion. As you're laying there and you've accomplished everything and you're giving back, what were you thinking? Sense of relief?
Is this how I lose? I don't know. Am I doing it right? I don't know. I mean, because it happens so infrequently. It's just weird. When I lose, I feel like I'm completely out. I don't know what to do. It's weird. So immediately, I'm just trying to play it right. I mean, how do I act? I mean, it's weird. It's just,
Well, that's fascinating to hear you say that.
it's true, though.
Yeah, but you hardly ever lost.
I know. So, I mean, how am I supposed to react? It's just a weird thing.
But I mean, to me, when I stopped at WrestleMania 19 with Rock, when they hit the 3 count, it was like 1,000 pounds lifted off my back. I had a lot of neck issues, a lot of other issues, and I knew I'd ride off the sunset. So for me, it was relief.
I truthfully don't know. I was cleansed. It wasn't relief. You know what? It was relief in that my performance was culminated, with all that training and rehab and everything just to get to that night, and that was accomplished. And so I became, I guess, they're really, because nothing I really do as a stand-up, right? This isn't a retirement match. I'm just not over it yet.
Going back to what you're saying, I've told many people along the way as we pass down knowledge to the next generations. It's like anybody can learn how to win. You can really learn something by losing. And to your point, here you are, it's just a great match. Against a guy that at 20 you could have knocked the roof off place, and now 33 you do, and then you get beat, but it's like, hey, this is something familiar. What's up?
I mean, it's honestly, it's just very strange. It doesn't have, I get it. Hey, here, it's disrespectful that you just beat me. I'm Goldberg. I've never been beat, decisively. It's all a storyline thing. And you just don't want to do anything to supersede the ability for you to do it again, or for it to lessen it. I don't know. I'm still learning the business. I am, honestly. And I'm the first one to tell you that I'm still green. I always will be. It's always a learning experience. Something that I'm inspired to do, so I got to really
to the Broken Skull.
Everybody wants to go.
I can tell you that there is no other time that I have actually smiled driving up to this part of California because I knew that I was going to be able to hang out with you. And,
Let's
from
come
afar,
back. We making a comeback. I'm the Ja Rudies.
got to be good friends throughout the years, and I got to tell you,
But to the point where you end up on is one now. You beat it, no, they don't want you. Don't want you. Yeah.
you're just a good guy. We will. Pleasure talking to you. And my name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And if I was taken to the airport tomorrow and someone calls me Goldberg, I will smile at them and say thank you. Thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking with Goldberg. And that's the bottom line. Why? Stone Cold said so.
Oh, Father, what you do? Oh, chill. Anybody, kick anybody. Yes, yeah. Shake them. Yeah. Break evil, make it turn. You got his teeth kicked in. Come on, come on. Scared red. Payback. It's justice for all of us. You the boss in West Texas. Now you're once a folk in Texas. All y'all in cahoots stuff. And that's the show. I'm going directly home now. Directly home, man. I'm finished, yeah. I'll be back again still tomorrow. Next fall, I'm in the road to make fun of me. More than likely. Can't do that 10 minutes. The baby one, my I'm going to bed. I'm getting ready for bed. See y'all. For a better tomorrow and a better rest of the week, especially Friday. See y'all. Good night, LGBT, whatever you call yourself. I'm your father.